and I have okayed it.
I'll check if people can see us or hear us right now. It takes a bit
So we are
of
live.
time to. Yeah, we are. I think we
Ah,
are live. We have to just check if we are live. It takes a
acha,
bit.
acha.
The laptop is pretty old now, so unless the government pays our scholarship, we can't get a new one.
अभी
Okay.
तो मुश्किल है पैसा.
We are live. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Carvan. My name is Ishan Sharma, and today we are excited to host a wonderful actor and artist and to talk about films, to talk about theater, to talk about books and society in general, hopefully. Sukant Goel. Sukant is somebody who you have seen in recently, most recently in Kala Pani. And then before that, Monica, Oh My Darling, and I think even in Ghost Stories with Anurag, no,
No, Divakar.
with Divakar, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's so much to unravel today on cinema, and this is a rare occasion. I was just telling Sukant that to host a contemporary artist who's working in the industry these days, it's very rare that we host them on Caravan. But we have made an exception because we recently watched Kala Pani and we were blown with the kind of acting that he has shown in the show. And if you haven't seen the show, please go and see it on Netflix. It's one of the best that has come out. It relates to the things that we went through during the pandemic, and then it's a family that is stuck in Andaman Nicobar Islands. And do watch it. I don't want to give you spoilers beforehand. So Sukant, welcome to this interview, this batak or this informal chat between two theater aficionados and to one practicing artist and one who just likes to attend these theaters. But tell us about your starting up. की शुरुआत कहाँ से हुई? Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Thank you, Ishan. Thank you, Karwa, for having me here. Uh, I I was born in Meerut in Western UP, and incidentally, I found out that you were also born in Meerut, and we agreed that at least a decade and a half before you were born, I, I happened to touch that city. And then my parents very quickly both were doctors. They moved to Muzaffarnagar to make a living, and I was their only child. And at a very young age, I moved there, where they had a long period of struggle to, make a home, make a practice. They didn't have any backing, no doctors in their entire family, and at one point, they decided to send me to a boarding school, which was a stretch for them. So they had to pretty much spend a huge percentage of whatever they were earning into my education because they sincerely believed that I had to go out of that town to get a decent education, which was rare at that time for people to be doing. Only very, very rich, very wealthy people from the city would have sent their children, as legacy students to these schools, to Doon School and Mayo and stuff like that. So it was a big step for them, and yeah, and basically from class one till I finished my education in college, I was in boarding schools in Dehradun, in Delhi in 11th and 12th, in Bombay in my college, Jaipur briefly, and yeah, I mean that's in short,
Yeah.
quick run up through my childhood.
In such a family, which is a middle class family,
Yeah,
having the dream of an actor is very rare. It is something that people don't pursue generally. They want their children to be doctors, engineers, and
yeah,
not actors. Or even when we were choosing history, we were very reluctant because we
yeah,
don't see a future, we don't see a career in these streams.
yeah,
What was
yeah.
your family's response when you decided I think you were in college when you decided that you would do theater? What was the
That's right.
response like?
Uh, he was scared. My dad was extremely scared. डर गए वो. उनको लगा ये क्या है इतने अच्छे स्कूलों में सब भेज के सब पढ़ा के अब केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग करके अब तो टाइम है टू मिल्क इट टू find an MBA. And I was good. I would get good marks, good ranks. So they knew that if I'd put my head down and study hard, I would achieve whatever was considered to be success for middle class families at that time. और मेरा एक अच्छा secure job और so on and so forth हो जाता है. And they didn't want me to be doctors, surprisingly. While all their friends, most of their friends wanted their children to be doctors, and they have become doctors. My parents were like, no, this is not a good life, as you can see. And you have to constantly keep studying and all of that. And become an engineer. It's 4 years of, you know, whatever. And then you have a job. I think it's always, my parents thought that because they were in private practice and it was very difficult on personal schedules and to give time to each other. Uh, the stable job of a 9 to 5 and of a afsar category or whatever would be the best. But yeah, I mean, but I'm sorry they sent me to the schools where I saw so much else and I had to dream. Initially it was I'll become a doctor, I'll become this surgeon. The next year I would watch some plastic surgery and I wanted to become a plastic surgeon. But it was always, medicine. And then I saw all these rich kids in my school, and it turns out that everyone's father had some sort of business. So then I thought, okay, to have a big lifestyle, I need to be a businessman. So once I told my dad, I don't want to do a job. I don't want to work under anyone. I want to. So he's like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to have a company of shoes. I want to make shoes and sell shoes. I don't know. I just said it because थोड़ा pride की बात आ गई थी. I had to give him an answer because otherwise he would dial me down to a point where I'd say, हाँ, you are right. मेरे पास कुछ idea है नहीं. And cricketer, I mean, everyone wants to be a cricketer. So
Yes.
there are so many things one wanted to be. But actor, no, that only, I really thought in Bombay, that that became uh, a dream that I saw with my eyes open for the first time when I was doing engineering here. But yeah, my father was scared, and he's not the kind of person who immediately reacts. So he absorbs the information. फिर वो जाके थोड़ा सोचते हैं अपना कुछ research करते हैं and then he comes back with so he brought some articles, and one of the articles was of अपना God, I don't know, the director of Door, uh, Door and oh, oh God, what am I? Uh, तीन दीवारें, Nagesh Kukunu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he brought some articles saying he was a chemical engineer, then he did a job, and then he left all that, and then so why don't you do, like, you can do some work and on the side you can do theater. What he meant was amateur theater. So he didn't say don't do it, but he
Mm.
got scared and he said, like, do a job for some time, earn some money, and then do it. He probably thought that I'll forget about it once, I start working and some money starts coming. But yeah, as it turned out, it didn't happen. And when I was doing a job, and I was in Ivory Coast, I was in a mining company.
Yeah.
And yeah, after 1.5 years, when I finally mailed him, I think he accepted that there's no way he's going to turn around now. So how do we go about it was the question.
So your life
And
also took a turn in South Africa, like Gandhi.
yeah, well, not South Africa, West Africa, Ivory
West
Coast,
Africa.
like
Yeah.
Gandhi, Jesus.
The African
Most
experiment.
unlike,
Huh?
most unlike Gandhi.
But you started doing
Yeah.
theater in school also for school plays.
Yeah. And it was great that I was in a boys' boarding school, so there used to always be a girl character in any play that they got, and I would put my hand up and say, "Yeah, I'll do it," because
Hmm.
उसमें बच्चे क्या चिढ़ाते हैं फिर ना, लड़की बन जाओ, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता था उससे. मुझे रोल करने को मिल रहा था, तो मैं हीरोइन सब कुछ. I played a girl from class 1 to 6 in every annual day play in my school, and reached the peak of it because finally I played the heroine in a play uh, on Robin Hood, and I was playing Maid Marian, and we had a dance sequence also with that boy who was in class 8th and I was in class 6th. And I borrowed my chachi's heels, and we had a proper dance on Look into my eyes, you will find that Brian Adams song. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and then I remember it being a little awkward also afterwards when I would meet that guy in school in general, like as a boy. I would feel like, अब मैं इसको greet करूं कि नहीं करूं. लोग देख रहे हैं क्या वगैरह. But once, on stage and doing the work, it didn't matter. So yeah, I did a lot of that. Uh, and but I don't know how theatrical all of it was. I don't know if schools here are the premium schools also are introducing kids to theater uh, in the right direction, or is there something that is in their head which they think is theater and they do it on stage, and people think that we've done theater, or are we wasting that time by not giving them an introduction exactly to theater by theater professionals and not just school teachers.
That's
So
very true.
yeah,
Even in our curriculums,
yeah,
the plays that we are taught, they are very they are not beginner friendly. They start with Othello and Shakespeare,
yeah,
which is not
yeah, yeah.
made for beginners.
Yeah. And once it becomes consequence based, like exam based, then the way you look at it changes. Because ultimately there are marks. So the mind is conditioned of children to look at it everything that you're studying in that direction from the, perspective of result consequence. So then have you really studied the play? Have you really enjoyed that process? I mean, maybe only out of a class of 30, two or three enjoyed, Merchant of Venice. The rest of them were looking at it as an exam. But could we have done it in a way where out of 30, maybe 20 people looked at it as a play, and it made their lives richer, or their student life richer, by just introducing the play as a play and not as a thing that you're going to get marked on. I think more people would be sensitized towards the idea of theater. Uh, not everybody has to become a thespian.
Yeah,
I mean, but there would be more audiences, more Ishant, who are appreciative of the art form, etc.
correct.
Not look at it as just something that we did in school, which was completely unnecessary. And Shakespeare is all thee, thou, and thine, and it's, oh my God, kya अंग्रेजी है कौन
Yeah.
करे.
No, you are a 90s kid, and so in that time, अगर हम दूरदर्शन देखें, which was the state media,
Yeah,
that time Doordarshan was filled with these NSD graduates who were acting. चाहे वो
yeah,
the Pavas, Manoj and Seema, and even Irfan used to do
yeah,
shows in Doordarshan. Digmanshu,
yeah.
many actors.
Raghuveer Yadav, so many of
Raghuveer
them,
Yadav,
Mungeri
yes.
Lal ke Haseen Sapne and
So, uh,
Nukkad and all of those.
you were a kid at that time. What
Yeah,
when you saw those shows, those are
yeah,
theater actors acting for a television show. How was the
yeah,
reaction? What did you like some of those shows? What were your memories of
yeah,
those?
yeah. I used to love it. I think I used to watch it glued, taking it all in. And I mean, some from memory and some from what people tell me, that I was always keen to uh, uh, imitate them later afterwards, mimic them, and perform for people, do it when somebody's watching. Uh, so I might not have understood the story of Mungeri Lal Ke
Hmm,
Haseen Sapne, but I remember I remember the expressions on Raghuveer Yadav's face, or uh, uh, and some of the way he used to talk. So I might have tried to talk like that. So I'm not sure I understood Hum Log, yeah, but I was happy to sit there and watch what was
yeah,
happening on this magic screen, and these people were so attractive. These people were like, I wanted to be them. I didn't know that that was the thought inside me, but I'm guessing that was what was driving me to that. And not just these serials. पहले क्लासिकल के बहुत प्रोग्राम आते थे, हिंदुस्तानी
बिल्कुल.
क्लासिकल के. सुबह को, शाम को, रात को उसका टाइम होता था. एंड माय डैड वुड नो कितने बजे वो होता है. सुबह सुबह आना शुरू हो जाते थे. सो ही वुड स्विच इट ऑन, एंड पहले मैं बहुत बोर होता था, ये क्या है, ये क्या लगा दिया, ये बंद करो, कुछ और लगाओ. बट ही मेड श्योर आई वाज लिसनिंग एंड आई वाज देयर. एंड देन मुझे सिखाने के लिए भी एक गुरु को बुलाया था, हारमोनियम और क्लासिकल सिंगिंग.
Hmm,
मैं बोर भी होता था, लेकिन वो बहुत बूढ़े थे और बहुत प्यार से सिखाते थे. कभी कभी वो तबला बजाते थे और मैं नाच लेता था अगर मेरा मूड नहीं होता था. बट बहुत कुछ, कई रागों के इंट्रोडक्शन हुए जो I'm using even today, and because it happened at that time, whether forcefully or whatever you want to call it, nobody caned me, but it has stayed, and it is very very important. Just like any of those serials, the music that I saw and I heard is as important. बट आई थिंक मैं ये शक्तिमान वगैरह से पहले एस्केप कर गया था।
लकी
ये
यू।
सबसे पहले मैं, हाँ, वो बोर्डिंग स्कूल निकल गया था जब ये मसाला वसाला आना शुरू हुआ ना। तो उससे मैं बच गया। मेरे पास शक्तिमान वगैरह के कोई रेफरेंसेस नहीं है। जब
हम्म।
लोग बोलते हैं तू 90s में था ना, तो कुछ, एंड आई कैन नॉट कनेक्ट टू दैट।
या।
बट ऑल दैट महाभारत एंड रामायण तो मैंने कैसेट एक अंकल के यहाँ से ले लेके, जब मैं छुट्टियों में आता था, दोबारा दोबारा देखता था, रिपीट कर करके देखता था। आई यूज्ड टू रियली एंजॉय ऑल द माइथो स्टफ, बुक्स एंड मूवीज। मैं सारी माइथो फिल्म जाके देखता था। समथिंग अबाउट इट अट्रैक्टेड मी, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट वाज।
बट देन
Then I would, play it,
या।
become Hanuman. It's like it's so much joy to become a larger character. Uh, yeah, and I think children enjoy doing that more than being a real actor and doing the very realistic imitations. I think it's always larger.
करेक्ट, बट देन यू केम बैक टू दिल्ली एज अ कॉलेज स्टूडेंट। और मंडी हाउस, जब मैं भी दिल्ली में था, मंडी हाउस इज अ सेंटर ऑफ थिएटर where you can
Hmm.
get to meet actors from NSD जो कि कभी ब्रेक के बीच में आ जाते हैं GM स्नैक्स पे to have
Hmm.
samosas and chai.
Yeah.
Did you also visit Mandi House at that time?
No, I didn't. I didn't because I didn't do my college in Delhi. I did my school, 11th and 12th in
Hmm.
Delhi. And that was the time which I have wasted most beautifully. And I'm most glad that I wasted those two
Yeah.
years with some of my friends who are my closest friends till date, because we did nothing for 2 years in the most fun way. But when I did my college in Bombay, there was a lot of opportunity to go and watch theater, professional theater, but I didn't, and I do regret that because again there was a lot of time. हम engineering ही तो कर रहे थे, इतना उसमें इतना time होता है. I mean, I was busy trying to change the college ka atmosphere and make it more culturally active and all of that, because ours was a very hardcore chemical engineering college, which is, I feel now in hindsight, a good thing. But हम लोग उसमें इतना लगे हुए थे कि मैं पृथ्वी थिएटर एक बार तक नहीं गया देखने के लिए कोई नाटक कैसा होता है। बस दिमाग में कुछ ख्याल थे, एक्टिंग ये होती है, वो होती है, वो तो मैं करता हूँ तो 5 लोग हंस देते हैं, बोलते हैं वाह कितना अच्छा गाता है। तो अंदर अंदर बहुत खुश थे, और ये एक बहुत ही इल्यूजरी बिलीफ होता है कि मैं एक्टर बन जाऊंगा या मैं हीरो बन जाऊंगा। सो दैट वाज हाउ इट वाज। आई डिडंट रियली वॉच, आई डिडंट गो टू मंडी हाउस टिल 2 years into theater when one of my plays went there. That's the
Yeah.
first time I got introduced to that. Then there was a show at NSD, and and then you meet so many people who have a theater background, education in theater background, and then I felt like, oh my God, I could have done that. I wasted so much time. I need to cover up now. I've come to act when I'm 25. People have been doing it, at it since college, and now they know so much. I don't know. So there's all this competition that I have to cover up in less time. But yeah, I didn't do that. मंडी हाउस रोमांटिसिज्म hasn't happened to me. मेरे एनएसडी के दोस्त हैं सब, वो हॉस्टल की और ये सब बातें करते हैं, और
Yeah.
तो मेरे पास उसमें कुछ
ऐड
कंट्रीब्यूट
करने को
करने के
नहीं है।
लिए नहीं है। मैं सुनता हूँ और सोचता हूँ वाह ये काम होता है फिर। पर मुझे लगता है कि ठीक है, वो मैं सीख रहा हूँ वो सब यहीं, ऐसा।
Yeah.
हाँ, I think it doesn't matter. Not so much. Not until education becomes, there's an atmosphere of theater education in the entire country, not just one or two institutes.
Hmm.
जहाँ पे मतलब इट्स लाइक आप डिजेक्ट हो गए अगर आपका नहीं हुआ 29 बच्चों में, फिर आप फिर से ट्राई कर रहे हो, मतलब आईएएस की तरह हो गया है, या मतलब आईआईटी की तरह हो गया है ये। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए आर्ट में।
Correct.
वो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। वो ये कहीं हार जीत का आइडिया इतनी शुरू से आ जाता है उसमें कि बहुत टाइम लग जाता है समझने में कि एक्चुअली एक्सप्रेशन is independent of these battles,
Correct.
but it can be introduced very early, and that I feel is something that we lack right now.
सो यू सेड थोड़ा बहुत एक्टिंग का ऐसा मन था, कीड़ा था बीच में। ऐसी कौन सी फिल्में यू यू वॉच्ड एज अ टीनेजर, एज अ यंग मैन, जिसके वजह से लगा कि एक्टिंग करना चाहिए? आई थिंक दैट दोज आर मेन स्ट्रीम फिल्म्स।
Absolutely, absolutely. Kishore Kumar films,
हम्म।
all old Kishore Kumar films. Half Ticket, Padosan,
या,
दो दुनी चार, uh,
चलती का नाम गाड़ी।
चालबाज, हाँ, दिल्ली का ठग, चलती का नाम गाड़ी. Repeat पे देख देख के, and I knew the lines of Half Ticket from top to bottom. I might still know 70% of it if I'm watching with somebody or Padosan. I just that was a storytelling that just like, and what this madman was doing on screen, it was so attractive. It was unbelievable, and the magic is that हो चुका 50 साल पहले. उस पे वो जनरेशन मजे ले चुकी, उसके बाद एक और जनरेशन मजे ले चुकी, अब मेरे पास आया है, जबकि मेरे पास ये सब हैं, आज के स्टार्स हैं सब एंजॉय करने के लिए, लेकिन ये चीज पागल कर गई मुझे, और कहा भी रहा है, और मतलब दैट वाज फॉर मी द थिंग दैट फर्स्ट अट्रैक्टेड मी. और भी चीजें थी, बट इफ आई हैव टू पिक देम, it's got to be, you know, Half Ticket or
Kishore
Padosan.
Kumar was a true performer. He could sing, he could
Yeah,
dance, he could act.
yeah, yeah. Once in a lifetime. I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't had anyone after that like that.
I
You
think
know.
all the three brothers, the Ganguly brothers,
Yeah,
all three of them were very good.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anup
yeah,
Ganguly, Ashok Kumar,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Kishore Kumar.
Anup Ganguly was so funny in Chalti Ka Naam Gaadi. He
Yeah,
was so he was hilarious. Yeah. और अब उस मूवी को दोबारा देखता हूँ तो लगता है क्या मैजिकल काम किया इन लोगों ने यार. So once you know how it is to, to be on set and to make that music, to, create all that fun in those songs, and then for the singers to sing in one take, and malab, it was madness how they did that. The appreciation is manifold now. But
correct.
that's I think that's the victory of such work, that you don't need to know what went into it. First, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
First, it attracts you. And then later is the deconstruction and the understanding and all that. So first, it has to just take you somewhere.
So,
That's the genius.
you don't have a formal training in acting,
No.
is it? So, how did you train
Um,
yourself as an actor?
uh, yeah, I don't have a certificate in training
Hmm.
from an institute, but I landed, well, serendipitously in a workshop which was being conducted by Satyadev Dubey
Wow.
in Bombay, and that somehow turned out to be his final workshop.
Hmm.
And there were only three of us there, and I wanted to do a workshop, and like I said, some turn of events, and I landed in his room. And we did 20 days of workshopping. And well, I think 60% of it was him talking with his cigarette. And
Yeah.
but that was education, because we did very basic exercises, absolute basic, so much so that he that don't act became uh, the more important thing to look out for than act in that workshop. And just the most boring basic things: volume, pitch, how to walk, how to stand, how to look, how to breathe, how to listen, how to talk, um, loud, clear. These things that are, I don't know, that was the ABCD for me. It remains the ABCD. And then, because work started happening in theater, and most of it was पहले पीछे कुछ कर रहे हैं backstage, या not really backstage. I was lucky, मुझे कुछ म्यूजिक बजाने को मिल गया एक नाटक में, फिर एक एंट्री मिल गई, फिर एक कुछ. And you were observing, and this thing was already in my head. No, I have to learn fast. I have to learn fast. I can't, I can't sit and sit back and let things happen. So maybe I was learning fast also. And but yeah, those 20 days of workshopping were a proper theater workshop. Uh, and and that was schooling. Yeah, of course, it's not 1 year, it's not
Yeah.
2 years, 3 years, but I spent another 2 years with Dubeji at Prithvi almost every day. And there was talk and this, and we'd watch a play and then talk about it, or he would just talk about some random things. But it was all part of my education.
So this was
And
around 2008 or 9, I believe.
this was 2009 to 11, end of 2009 till end of
He passed
2011
away
when
in
he passed away.
2011.
2011, yeah, on Christmas. Yeah,
Then
yeah,
Pandit Satyadev Dubey, as he was known, Pandit Ji, he
yeah,
was one of the greatest icons of Indian
yeah,
theatre, very progressive in
yeah,
his approach.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he's one of the schools. अगर हम schools देखें theatre में, there's
yeah,
a Badal Sarkar school, there's a Habib Tanveer school, which
yeah,
is Adil Hussein's and Adil Hussein's school of theatre. Then there is
yeah,
Satyadev Dubey.
yeah.
And did you also watch his films by any chance? The films that he wrote,
Yeah, the ones that he wrote for Shyam Babu and Govind Nilani.
Mandi and Ankur.
Yes, 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 yes. I've watched all of them, almost all of them.
Then I think he
But he
also
also
wrote
had,
the Shantata Court Chalu Ahe.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and incidentally, when he was around, he started to make another film. He started work. In fact, in the first day of the workshop, he announced to us that I'm taking money from you because I'm making a film. Normally, I don't charge for my films, for my workshops. Ask anyone. But I need money to make this film, so I'm charging you 20,000 bucks each. और कोई वजह नहीं है. And he was trying to make that film, and I was called several times, and I think I played some two, three characters. कहीं crowd में खड़ा है, कोई थप्पड़ खा रहा है, कोई कुछ मंदिर में है. That film never got completed. But yeah, yeah. But by that time, I believe the mind was all over the place. I'm not sure he was really making a film that he understood what he was making.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
but I've seen those films. Yeah,
so when you visited Prithvi is a place जहाँ पर नसीर साहब भी हैं. Now you have Makaran there. Danish Hussain is working there,
yeah,
doing shows.
yeah.
वो experience कैसा था? Just to be there at Prithvi with Dubey ji, of course.
Hmm.
What were his comments on the shows that he would watch?
Yeah, he wasn't watching a lot at that time. He was quite uh, he was very weak, and he would have seizures and all. But I remember when we were doing a play with Bijon Mondal. It was called Oedipus Rex. It was an Urdu translation of Oedipus,
Oh,
written by Sophocles, the Greek tragedy. And and I told him, Duviji, I'm doing this, वगैरह. And I was playing one of the Greek chorus bits and all that. And he said, I said, will you come and watch? He said, नहीं नहीं मैं नहीं देखूंगा. I said, but why? He said, मैंने उसका वो किनका देखा हुआ है. अरे यार मुझे आज नाम क्यों नहीं बता रहे. The great Bengali thespian.
Badal Sarkar.
नहीं 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 नहीं, एक्टर एंड डायरेक्टर.
That Kumar Roy or something.
नहीं नहीं. याद आएगा किसी पॉइंट पे. मैंने उनका देखा हुआ है, मैं ये सब मैं नहीं देखूंगा वगैरह. लेकिन मैंने बिजॉन से कहा कि तुम क्यों कर रहे हो अश्वत्थामा, ये क्या कहते हैं, इडिपस का पार्ट. तुम मत करो, तुम्हें देखने कौन आ रहा है. तुम नसीर के बेटे को ले लो. विवान को ले लो. वो क्या है, नहीं टोल्ड मी. मैंने तुम्हारा नाम क्यों नहीं लिया, तुम्हारा भी नाम ले सकता था, लेकिन विवान को देना चाहिए क्योंकि उसकी गुडविल से लोग देखने तो आएंगे नाटक. तुम्हें देखने कौन आने वाला है. he didn't watch that show, but he saw one show in Ville Parle, in this very small place. Uh, eh, you know, I think I think names I should not even attempt to try and
Yeah.
remember today. Uh, साठे साठे कॉलेज का ऑडिटोरियम में. और वो देखने आए थे वो. और उसके बाद वहां बैठे, एंड देन ही वाज वेरी एक्साइटेड आफ्टर द शो. तो चलो चलो, मैं तुमको पृथ्वी पे लेके पराठे खिलाता हूँ. देन वी वेंट टू पृथ्वी एंड ही केप्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द प्ले, अबाउट समथिंग फॉर 2 hours. देन आई वेंट ऑल द वे टू हिज प्लेस टू ड्रॉप हिम इन बैंड राइज. तब तक बात करते रहे वगैरह वगैरह. And I was thinking to myself, like, why does this man need to do this? At 76, 77, whatever the age he is. But he was like that. He was always excited by young people, always kept them engaged. He didn't care much about people who had become something. You know, he was looking at the tables at Tiffy जहाँ पे young लोग बैठे हुए थे. किसी को पकड़ के बोलते थे, कल मैं तुम वो जो आइडिया डिस्कस कर रहे थे अपनी टेबल पे, मैंने सुना, मेरे को सपना आया, उस सपने में ये मुझे लगा है तुम्हें। Yeah, it's amazing. He kept himself alive and childlike because of that.
And
But yeah, sorry. Nasir ka ek बहुत interesting चीज है, if I may.
yeah, yeah,
Of course, there was an excitement to see Nasir Saab at Prithvi, and I saw him much later, I think. But एक थिएटर ग्रुप है, तमाशा थिएटर, जो सपन
correct.
सारन और सुनील शान बागरन करते हैं। तो सपन ने एक नाटक लिखा था, वेटिंग फॉर नसीर। अ, बहुत बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग और फिलोसॉफिकल नाटक है,
Wow.
अबाउट टू एक्टर्स। वन इज एन एक्सपीरियंस्ड एक्टर, जो इंतजार ही करता रह गया और उसको बनना था नसीर जैसा, और एक यंग एक्टर जिसकी डेथ हो चुकी है, लेकिन ही अपीयर्स एट पृथ्वी। उसके कैफे में ये दोनों मिलते हैं, एंड दे गेट इनटू, एंड द प्ले इज अबाउट द आइडिया ऑफ वेटिंग, and Nasir is used as this metaphor for, the pinnacle of acting. That's, you can't go beyond that. And both of them are fans, and they have their histories with Nasir, their personal histories. And there's a very interesting scene when they both get into this, अच्छा तुम ज्यादा जानते हो नसीर के बारे में कि मैं ज्यादा जानता हूँ, देखते हैं, क्विज करते हैं, and they have this quiz on a table, across a table, कितने मोनोलॉग किए हैं, अच्छा कितनी बार उन्होंने अपने नाटकों में द बोला है, कितनी बार हंसे हैं, ये वो, एंड दे हैव दिस absurd
Yeah.
debate. Yeah, so it was a very interesting play, बहुत मतलब उसके शोज हुए, बट आई, और आज तो उसके शोज और लोग भी कर रहे हैं, दुबई में किसी ने किया वगैरह। आई थिंक दैट वाज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग प्ले एट पृथ्वी, ऑन पृथ्वी, taking an icon of Prithvi Theatre, and the idea of waiting for an actor. Uh,
So
it
Nasir,
was it was
Nasir Sahab, I think is an icon, of course. Lekin people compare him with Marlon Brando and the method school
yeah.
of acting. Do you also think that he is from that method acting school, or is there a method in acting?
I think he denies the use of any such words himself.
Yeah,
He says that he's a bakwas hai. I think, if I may, I'm paraphrasing,
yeah,
but I don't think he subscribes to any method, or he doesn't eulogize any method
yeah.
in particular. I think he's very concerned about working hard at it, doing your lines, and making sure you try and achieve the truth in whatever way possible. And craft is something that he talks about a lot. So, and he
He's
says
of
that
course a
acting
trained
can be
actor.
learned. He's a trained actor. He's trained in two schools,
Yeah,
two, premier
NSD and
schools, at least serving.
FTIIS.
Yeah, at least serving the Hindi and English domain. And he he says that acting can really be learned. He really believes that. So I don't think he subscribes to any method. And I don't even know if Marlon Brando, one day decided in the morning and said, "This is my method now, and this is how I'm going
Yeah,
to perform." I think it would be ridiculous to think like that,
yeah,
and come up with good performances each time. Every actor has their strengths and their weaknesses, and they can work on those weaknesses and play on their strengths. And every character must require a different kind of approach. But like I said, the basics remain. If you don't know your lines, or if you don't know what you're saying, why you're there, who are you, who is the person you're talking to, etc., then you can apply all the methods. You can go kill people to play a serial killer, or you can do all of that, but it won't serve the scene. So, this Nasisa also says that you're a messenger. The
yeah,
sooner you understand it, the better it will be, the better you might act. That your job is to ट्रांसफर, और आपको पहुंचाना है जो लिखा गया है, जो देख रहा है उस तक आपको सिर्फ पहुंचाना, आपको ढोना है। इनफैक्ट आई थिंक इनकी किताब है, डॉक्टर श्री राम लागू की। इन मराठी द वर्ड मीन्स, आई थिंक इट मीन्स कूली, और द ट्रांसपोर्टर। So his autobiography is called that. It's all about how you are the carrier, nothing more than that. So method, I mean, I'm sure it serves some people, but those people must be very intelligent, like Daniel DeLewis, etc. We talk about,
yeah,
uh, going all the way to do this. I think they must be really intelligent to make that choice, and not, you know, be stubborn about what my method is, because they will, impede their own growth by being so obstinate about something. I think it's us who like to romanticize it because we're not in a position to deconstruct it.
Correct.
So the idea of the illusory is always attractive, and whereas actually, like Nasir Saab says, it is a craft. You can make the most beautiful statue by actually एक पत्थर, एक कील, एक बार ठोका, फिर देखा, फिर बनाया. वो फाइनल स्टैचू देख के हम बोलते हैं, वाह, ये क्या बना दिया उसने. बट वो बंदा जिसने बनाया वो डिकंस्ट्रक्ट कर पाएगा.
Correct. And another contemporary of Nasir Sahab in theatre is Sunil Shanbag, whose theatre is
He's
a,
a slightly junior, I
slightly
believe, but
junior,
then
but yeah,
became contemporary. Yeah.
working even today, and they have separate
Yes.
ideas of theatre, very different theatre techniques. And
Yes.
Sunil, I think, is Delhi based, if I'm not wrong. I don't
No, no, Bombay, Bombay, very much
Bombay.
Bombay.
Have you
Yeah, yeah,
ever
yeah.
done any workshop with him? Have you met him?
I've done a lot of work with Sunil. In fact, I've always said that when I started working with Sunil and my first interactions, that is, I think my learning curve went skyrocketing
Yeah.
because of working with him. I don't think, I think before that there was some stagnance, and
Hmm.
there were some ideas in my head about acting. But with him, it just started to clear. It was like, मतलब शीशे पे ऐसा फ्रेश हो, कभी कभी पेट्रोल पंप पे वो बढ़िया वाला मारते हैं ना, एंड देन
Yeah.
अच्छा शीशा इतना साफ हो सकता है क्या. So it was that, and it's not like he's sitting out there and teaching you and all, but that whole idea that you can really learn in the space with him is incredible. Somebody had told me long back, Bobby Parvez is also an actor at Prithvi. He told me that सुनील के साथ काम करना, मौका मिले तो सुनील के साथ काम करना. It'll change, everything will change, and that really did happen. So yeah, and his theater is always relevant to him.
Yeah.
Uh, there's always a a social context to it, something he
Yes.
believes in,
Yes.
yeah, in questioning and then and he does it in very interesting ways. I mean, his theater attracted me at a very early time, and yeah, I mean, and both, I mean, Nasir Saab, just the fact that he's still doing it in with so much enthusiasm, so many shows. I mean, I don't know how you do 30 shows of the same play a month. Forget about at what age and all that. Even now, how excited are you the next day to the show? It's quite commendable, It's that passion is amazing. Yeah.
You know, you have learned from Dubey ji, then you have worked with Sunil, who are both, they belong to the same school of thought and same school of theater in many senses, the radical theater, if we can say, that questions the contemporary times, questions the society. Uh, but they are urban in nature in some sense. The stories are of cities. They are not rural theater. जैसे कि अगर हबीब तनवीर का हम काम देखें, चरण दास चोर हो या और जो
Hmm.
उन्होंने प्लेस करे, they are
Hmm.
they are inspired from folk theaters, जिसमें
Hmm.
बहुत सारा
Hmm.
गाना बजाना होगा, बहुत folk art involved होगी. A
Hmm.
lot of your body is used,
Hmm.
where you are
Hmm.
dancing, hopping here and there.
Hmm.
Have you watched any of Habib Tanvir's directed shows? As in, he was not there at that time, but
Yeah, I've seen on video. I've gone to YouTube and seen some of the stuff. I've never been able to see it live, but I have seen some stuff. I've heard a lot of music from his plays,
yeah.
which I find enthralling. Uh, and I heard a lot of his interviews at one point of time talking about his idea of theater, etc. But yeah, I've never been able to see it live. Yeah,
What kind of
but
theater
very
attracts you?
interesting.
Is it the radical theater or the romantic theater, or how do you connect yourself with what kind of theater you do?
At this point of time, there are, I think, two people inside me. One is me, the person, Sukant, who's living in this world, uh, observing, seeing what's happening, things, how life is moving, all these thoughts about what am I, how am I doing, what is life, etc. Uh, that person wants, uh, is attracted to a particular kind of thing. Like, for example, now I would say that uh, there is a lot of unrest
Hmm.
in the society that we live in, and there are so many. so many reasons at the core of it, and art has always found a way to explore that, to maybe even question it, and right now those are my instincts too. At the same time, I'm in a phase in my life where a lot of existential thoughts also
Yeah.
are questions are big. I'm not saying heavy. It's not like I don't dissolve, I don't like, drown in them, but there are some plays that attract you. There is a play called Vibhuti by uh, um, Abhishek Majumdar, which he's written, and I want to direct it. And it's a beautiful play, and it pits the common man's wisdom or philosophy of a man in a village with a simple idea of life against uh, the spiritual intellectualism, etc., of Ramakrishna Paramhans. So that attracts me. There are very real questions in it. Uh, but as an actor, anything can excite me. Uh, I it could be a musical, it could be a love story, it could be anything. Just a show, a comedy which has nothing to do with politics. That that does attract me. But I feel right now the 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 person me is pulling the actor a little bit more right now. So I am more interested in things that have a social context around them, a political context around them, which is uh, strong. Uh, doesn't have to be too, doesn't have to be direct and amateur. Can be very intelligently put. But yes, I am gravitating towards that a lot right now. Um, but but there is nothing that I've shut myself to. I think no, no, ये नहीं है एक्टर तो कभी भी किसी भी चीज से एक्साइट हो सकता है अभी मेरा
Yeah.
बहुत मन कर रहा है कि मैं कोई आई वांट टू डू अ कॉमेडी desperately want to do a comedy and I want to do a musical after a long time. It's been a long time since we've done a musical. So yeah, वो सब भी है. I mean, anything is gonna trap theater wise. I'm talking.
That's true. In acting, you mentioned classical music. तो I play sitar. Classical music में बड़ा मजेदार चीज ये है कि जो दो सुर हैं उसके बीच में एक silence आता है. That silence is negligible and very insignificant to people who listen to music, but those who play or those who perform, for them that silence is the place where they explore themselves. In
Hmm.
acting, there are ups and downs of emotions, of actions and reactions. But in between
Hmm.
them, do you find that there's a gap where an actor explore themselves?
Yeah, of course. Silence doesn't mean things have stopped. It means things are moving, maybe even more rapidly than when you're talking,
Yeah,
because at that time it's only thought. The wastage of energy from thought to movement is not happening. So the thought have a much more open ground to run faster in that silence. Somehow, uh, and it's very interesting how different it is of course very important for an actor, and you learn over time what really is silence. What is it to hold a silence? Not just to be silent because there is no word after that, but what does it mean, etc. It takes time. People tell you ठहराव क्या होता है, but it's a word. अब I don't know while performing ठहराव मतलब क्या, मैं खड़ा हो जाऊं एक जगह पे तो क्या वो ठहराव है? बट धीरे धीरे समझ में आता है कि ठहराव क्या होता है. मैं वही लाइन तेजी से बोल दूं, मेरा एक आइडिया ऑफ एक्टिंग या ह्यूमर है, कर 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 करके बोल दिया. अब मुझे पता है कि मैं उस टाइम को स्ट्रेच कर सकता हूँ. इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट माइक्रो बीट्स एज इन क्लासिकल म्यूजिक. यू नो धा धिन धिन धा. धा और धिन के बीच में अनलिमिटेड टाइम.
correct,
इफ आई ब्रेक इट डाउन इनटू स्मॉलर टाइम फंक्शंस, तो उसके बीच में द ग्रेट मास्टर्स विल बी एबल टू कहीं भी जाके इधर उधर आके and वो दिन पे आ जाएंगे. विलंबित का खेल ही पूरा ये.
correct,
राइट. तो एक्टिंग में भी that directly applies. You are able, time stretches for you as you gain more experience, as you gain more control of your craft. So things happen slowly, which means it gives you more time to react, more time. Just you have more time. You can see that one actor has just has a little more time than the other person's. वही ठहराव है. like in cricket. I don't know if we connect on that, but they say that batsmen who are really good just seem to have a little more time than another
Hmm.
batsman to make their choice. And I guess uh, yeah, but very interestingly, a lot of theater writers have explored silence. Like Beckett uses silence excessively,
Correct.
and he puts it as short side, short pause, long pause. Now, we did a play called Craps last day, in which there are lots of pauses which he writes down, and he's very particular about you must use it, you must say exactly what I've written, nothing else, etc. And so you have to figure out what is the short pause, what is the long pause, and then like Pinter also does it. And Pinter, in his own words, sometimes says that it's just like because stop speaking for some time. I've just put silence. Don't try to interpret it so much. Actors try to do all of that and silence में क्या हो रहा है वगैरह कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. बहुत बोल रहे हो थोड़ा बस करो. Just a relief from words. So it's all of that. But वो Pinter का कहना है. Actor को
Yeah.
फिर भी मुझे लगता है पता होना चाहिए क्या हो रहा है. At least
And
silence में. But
and as an actor, what do you think acting is? Is it impersonation? Is it imbibing the character, or is it just copying what is given to you, as in the write-up? What does acting mean to you?
acting means, I guess, delivering uh, an idea
Hmm.
which at the moment can be read or heard uh, or shown on paper, etc., delivering it in the form of taking up a body and making you believe that this is what was on the page. I have to make you believe. That act of whatever I'm doing to make you believe is acting. Now, within that, it could be impersonation, it could be a mix of all of that. Uh, but ultimately, I have to deliver a story and make you believe.
Hmm.
That is, I feel like uh, at a basic action level, what acting is, and I mean, then you can go into it as to what. Uh, but also, it obviously sets up some things that there is a source of the idea, there is a final receiver, which means an observer.
Hmm.
Without that, there is no acting.
Yeah.
Uske bina, you can do whatever you want alone in a room. It's like if somebody is not watching, somebody is not receiving. I don't know. I guess that's about somewhere acting also needs a receiver and an origin.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense. Mm, I guess other art forms also receive it, right? Need it. Every art form needs a receiver. So I don't know. I don't think I've said anything special.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think using your body, what you have, what you possess, and then becoming the medium of delivery for what's for the idea, that is acting. Maybe that's how it is different from other art forms.
And do you, as an actor, also research your character beyond the script? You read something more than the usual.
Yeah, I mean, I think somewhere acting intelligence would be if you read a script, you realize what is it that I need to research on, find more that will help the character or help the play. Some plays require you to learn, to learn about the writer, what else is written, why was he writing about that, the context of the play, to read about that, to understand if you're doing a play during, say, World War II and afterwards, I can't just walk onto stage and not know the whole context of what it meant to be a soldier in World War II, what it meant to be a general, which is very different from what it meant to be a soldier, what it meant to be a lawyer in the times of the Nuremberg trials. It's different from how a lawyer is now, the stakes, etc. I have to understand that, and then that can all come into my lines. For some
Hmm.
characters, you might require a different kind of research. Like, for instance, for Kala Pani, I needed to know about how the islanders live. What is it all about? I have no idea. of how life is in Andaman. So I can't just go with an idea in my head and perform it, at least not in a space where things are being treated realistically,
Correct.
where every other character is an outsider and there's one character specifically written to be an insider, an islander. So what is it that will make him look, feel different? It cannot be the same. So the research was then pointed in that direction. And he's also a guide, and I happen to meet some. And what different kind of guides know differently about the same place? What
Mm.
kind of guide? A guide is a generic thing, but you get all sorts. You get these people who know so much and know what to talk about. Some people are telling you some rata or something or propaganda. यहीं पे ये था और यहीं पे ये मरे और ये जिंदा हुए और यहीं पे लटकाए गए वगैरह इतनी चिट्ठियां लिखी थी एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. So what kind of a guide? Maybe that character is that. So research, I think, should be first is to understand what I need to research on. It cannot be the same every time,
Correct.
and then going deeper into that. And some things sometimes don't need a lot of research. Also, I
Correct.
think some things can come very instinctively, and you don't really have to even prepare a lot. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's romanticized, I think. Not every character in that series needed that kind of research from the actors. In Kala
But
Pani also, you can still perform.
but
Yeah.
do your characters haunt you in real life also? Do they follow you?
They don't really follow me, but it brings a certain, uh, uh, volume of understanding something else about life when you do that. So that sticks with you. That doesn't go.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe some, like there was a character that I played in Sandeep or Pinky Farrar,
Yeah.
in Dibakar Banerjee's film. There's a bank manager, very innocuous looking guy who, in one scene, in only the second scene that the character has, attempts to assault the main character, the female, Pariniti Chopra's character. And it's a weird scene. Uh, and he's clearly the weaker person in every possible way to that woman in that room. But just because he's a man and he has the key to that room, suddenly that supersedes everything else and gives him the power to assault her physically. And a lot of people ask me, what is your mind space for that and all that? I said, really, you just read the scene. It has been written so beautifully that you know where to take your mind and serve the line. You don't really have to, think of how people attack women, etc. It's there in every man, just by the social conditioning that we have. Just that door is so open. You just have to peep, and you don't even have to unlock it, and that comes to you. So post that, having done that scene, that awareness that I also have it in me to assume that power at some point of time. I'm very aware of it in certain situations. So it brought that understanding. It's no real, it doesn't haunt me.
Hmm.
Um, some things take a little time to go, like the accent in Kalapani took a little time to go,
Yeah.
some physical traits. But and you just don't want to get into some, like if I was doing this play called Taking Sides, directed by Atul Kumar. It's around the Nuremberg trials, and so we read a lot of stuff about that. And I'm anyway a buff of the two wars. I'm a World War buff in my own way. Uh, and all the way to the performing the play, it was very energy consuming for me, and also mentally. I mean, yeah, because you are there, you are constantly thinking about it. I'm not saying that I was getting dreams of, the trenches and all of that, nothing like that. But I mean, it's one thing to play a war veteran and be, have a trauma from that, and one thing to actually have that trauma. You
Yeah.
can never. It's a romantic idea that an actor will actually start suffering from that trauma. I don't know. I speak for myself. Uh, but yeah, after a point, after the shows have opened, then you just want to release and, not think so much about it, but also about performance. You think about what you did, what went wrong, what was nice. Then you start thinking about those things. It's not so much like, mentally it has affected me. No, I wouldn't say so.
No, I love the way that you are explaining it because sometimes actors and even researchers like us use a lot of jargons to romanticize things which are anyway very normal to practitioners, but we
Yeah.
try to use fancy words to just sound more educated, जो कि बड़ा ही
No, it's
it
yeah.
is it is becoming a fashion in the interviewing industry, if I call it that.
Yes. 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 It
So,
is that you're absolutely right. How did you prepare? Were you how did you wash your character off after all
yeah,
of that? And I'm like, really? I mean, I was the king when I was brushing and when I was shitting and when I was, I mean, come on. I mean, there's also craft. There's also like you can't just become. It's not like can you trick. You're a trickster as an actor. You should be a great trickster. And
correct.
you should be tricking your co-actor, surprising them. You should be tricking the viewer, the watcher, the writer for not wondering, oh, this line could mean this also. It's a lot of it's fun, it's play. You're
Yeah.
never really that person.
And because you were in theater is live acting. You are acting in front of people. You get uh, you get responses from the audience when you are acting there.
Yeah.
Cinema is a different medium where you have to look at the camera and you have to take into account that camera का frame उतना ही limited है and you have to act within that frame. How difficult was it, that transition from theater to acting on a camera?
Um, I it was about adjusting to the medium, like you say.
Uh,
It still is. I mean, uh, and you learn more and more as you do more and more. But I feel like from whatever I've done till now that the the idea is still the same. If it is a man who is tense, he is tense, whether he's on stage or he's in
yeah,
a room in a chair on a close up, or if he's worried. If he's happy, he's happy. If he wants something, he wants something. It's not like he wants something differently on stage and something differently in a movie.
yeah,
Form can be different. So the way you express that want in say a Habib Tanveer folk style will be very different from a very naturalistic kind of form taken or a musical form. Same thing can be मैं तुझे देखता हूँ तो मुझे ये याद आता है वगैरह can be sung, can be said very realistically, depending on the form, but the
yeah,
want remains the same. So I think as long as we understand that and keep that always as the core, then yes, you may go wrong in expressing in the medium, but slowly I think you will realize and come to some kind of optimum understanding for that medium. I don't believe that theater actors loud होते हैं. Yeah, I don't believe that you have to be either or, and I don't believe that acting is completely different in film and completely different in theater. I think acting is acting.
correct.
That's why I try to define it. It's just a medium of delivery. And बस and उन दोनों की writing भी different होती है because
Hmm.
medium of expression इतना different. The writing is different. Theater में ऐसे film वाली चीजें you can't just you can't just put there. It has everything on stage has to have a very real meaning and need to be seen and experienced live. Otherwise, it's not important. Uh, and I remember KK said this, and I heard him, and it made sense that in on stage you have to reach out as the performer to everyone there, and on screen you don't have to reach out. The camera is doing that job. People are reaching you.
Yeah,
So whatever they are seeing has to be very, very truthful. Otherwise, it will be caught. So yes, that kind of a difference that you can you cannot really, at least in the close shots and so on, you
yeah,
can't really fake it. You have to try and be
correct.
as truthful as possible. In theater, through craft, through rehearsal, you can sometimes also not necessarily hit the same emotion feeling wise day in and day out, but you can craft it to make you believe.
Hmm.
And it's not just about you, it's about the co-act also. It's about whatever's
Yeah,
happening. So you might have a 5 to 10 ka bandwidth to play that little bit, and you can go a little plus minus, but the scene can still be achieved. And as far as I'm concerned, that is still good acting because you've still served the scene, and not. thought कि मैं performance कुछ ऐसी कर दूंगा वगैरह. So yeah, I mean there are things. You still need energy. People think that film में perform करना है तो मैं एकदम softly बोलूंगा, एकदम real तरह से बोलूंगा, और you know कोई face expression नहीं होगा. This whatever this fancy term again is, this what's it called? No expression. This
Poker
stone
face.
what poker faced acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is दिखाना नहीं है, वो सब तो थिएटर होता है, वरना ये सब बकवास है. मतलब
Yeah.
इससे ज्यादा बकवास कुछ हो नहीं सकता. मुझे लगता है एनर्जी फिर भी होनी चाहिए आपके बीइंग में, आपके वर्ड्स में. देयर स्टिल हैज टू बी एन एनर्जी दैट हैज टू
Yeah.
रीच द कैमरा, दैट हैज टू रीच द माइक दैट इज ओवर हियर. अदरवाइज तुरंत वो बोलेगा नहीं एनर्जी नहीं है. उसका क्या मतलब है? तुमको तो लगेगा कि मैं तो बहुत रियल हो रहा हूँ. रियल में तो हम ऐसे ही करते हैं ना.
Yeah.
बट नहीं, उस रियल और उसके पीछे भी एक एनर्जी होती है. यू कैनॉट डू इट विदाउट दैट एनर्जी ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस. वो डॉक्यूमेंट्री में होता है.
Yeah. No, you have worked with trained actors. You have worked with non-trained actors as your co-actors. You have a filmmaker who was your co-actor recently, and in Kalapani,
Oh yeah.
Ashutosh.
Yeah,
Uh,
I never had a
so,
scene with him, yeah, but yeah.
so
Yeah.
it is my theory that theater actor would adapt to films more swiftly than trained actors who have gone through the acting training and non-trained actors. Because theater actors have the idea of how to communicate more than the trained actors. What do you think?
Ye- I would lean towards the thought that theater actors who are training through theater have the more tools, or the greater chance to be able to go on film and
Hmm.
adapt to that. Whereas those who have trained only in film, have worked only in film, for them to make
Of the
the
theater.
transition or jump or experiment to theater might face more difficulty and hardships in adjusting to that medium.
Hmm.
Uh, because so much will heavily suddenly depend on what they are doing in that moment, extremely importantly, craft wise. Uh, and that needs a lot of work, and a lot of responsibility is on the actor. In a frame, in a film, once it reaches the edit, I mean, what you have done is a very, very small part of what finally is in the frame, how you're experiencing the film. Uh, your being in delivery is a very, very small part. Or the range of how big that is a small bandwidth. Every other element, which is not in your control,
Yeah.
is helping that performance arrive. Whereas
Yeah.
on theater, it really is, it's 90% you as the actor.
Yeah.
It really is you.
You have worked with two of my favorite directors, Divakar and Anurag.
Yeah,
एक और जो
mine too.
टर्म यूज किया जाता है दैट इज इम्प्रोवाइजेशन इन एक्टिंग where you take your own path. So do they both Anurag and Divakar allow improvisations, or कभी आपने improvise किया? Don't give examples, but just agree or disagree. Do your
Yeah.
co-actors fail to improvise with you? Were there mismatches in the kind of wavelengths between the co-actors while acting?
Um, Sometimes, uh, not a lot. Again, I think acting intelligence also is about, you're not there to make the co-actor uncomfortable
Hmm.
and show off your improvisational skills. You're
Hmm.
there to make the scene better. So whatever you do should serve your co-actor and help him or her respond so that the scene becomes better. And it may fail once, but if it seems like something that you should do, then you do it in the next take.
Yeah.
Uh, and but yes, to answer your question, Debakar and Anurag are absolutely fine with improvisation, at least in what I did with them. But uh, I think again, it's down to actor intelligence as to when to use the improvisation. It's not required if the scene is written so beautifully, one after the other, like that scene
Yeah.
in Sangeet Sandeep or Pinky Farrar. There is no improvisation line. People think there are. There really is none. In fact, there was one on the last take, just before the last take, Debakar came and said, okay, just be in that zone, be wherever you are. We'll do it once more. Between this line and this line, just extend time. I said, okay. And he said, and say one thing, any one thing that comes in your head at that time. I said, okay, okay. Uh, and I said, just one thing, if I can ask you, on what lines should I say what you want me to say? He said, ma'am, please try to understand, something like that. I said, okay, okay. Then we went for the take. That point came, I said that line. I extended time, and then I couldn't think of anything better than saying, ma'am, please try to understand. So that's what I said. And then we moved on, finished the scene, and he came into the room after saying cuttings like, done, done. So he gave space. He probably understood, okay, I should give this person, he is in the zone or whatever it is, he's picked it up, so I can't give it to him. So they're also very intelligent
Yeah,
directors. It's not like they would just, let you improvise to your heart's full, and then, it doesn't make sense for the scene. Anurag has a lot of ideas on the set. Says, okay, ye thoda, let's use this, or he enjoys your improvisations, uh, and improvisation for the sake of improvisation is also,
yeah,
not required. And I heard Nawaz been talking recently, and he said कि आपको पहले समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कि वो उसका पूरी उसका पूरा माल है क्या, उस कैरेक्टर
hmm,
का। वो आप दुनिया समझ लोगे क्या मेरे पास है वगैरह, तब इम्प्रोवाइजेशन अपने आप निकल
आ
जाएगी। यू
जाएगा,
डोंट
या
रियली हैव टू, हाँ, थिंक अबाउट इट। कभी कभी सोच के भी आता है, आप पढ़ते हैं यार यहाँ पे तो ये चीज बोलूंगा तो कुछ शायद मजा आ सकता है। सो देयर इज नो वन वे, बट you should see who, when it's needed and when it's not. If it's really good, I don't think anybody says no, nahi, zarurat nahi hai. Uh, and if it's a script that they're not very sure that it has been worded ekdam precisely, then they will try and get some improvisations. Vasan Bala also changes so much on the day, but there are some people who don't. They're very sure. Like Kala Pani, we hardly moved from the words exactly. मेरे कैरेक्टर में वर्ड की बहुत तोड़ फोड़ की मैंने, बिकॉज वो जैसे लिखा था उस तरह की डायलॉग नहीं है।
या
बट आई ऑल्सो मेड श्योर कि स्टार्टिंग और एंड में अपने को एक्टर के लिए वो वैसे चेंज ना करूं ताकि वो थ्रो ऑफ ना हो जाए। आई हैव टू स्टिल ट्राई एंड बांधो द लाइंस एज दे आर रिटन ओरिजिनली। दे वर वेरी पर्टिकुलर। Some improvisation happened even there because you kind of understood the character and you thought that by saying this or by doing this, something interesting that will add to the scene will happen, not
hmm.
something that will add to your performance, add to the scene will happen. So yeah, Anurag, yeah, very happy to improvise. खुद ही से समथिंग कुछ ऐसे चुपचाप लाइन कान में आके बोले ये इसमें नहीं, थोड़ा सा ये बोलते बोलते मजा आएगा मजा आएगा। And then yeah,
And
you have to be convinced.
how do you see the growth of an actor in you? पहली फिल्म से लेके अब तक की, अब जो काला पानी आपने किया, do you see a growth in yourself? A certain kind of maturity has come now.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to believe that. If that has not happened, then I'll be extremely disappointed. Uh, of course, it's not like I love watching myself.
Hmm.
That's a tough thing to do. Uh, but yes, I do believe I have more understanding. I'm probably not always in control, but I have more time than I used to have before. The idea of acting or the idea of performing, I'm trying to serve that better and better, which is to make the scene better, make the film better, contribute to that rather than just thinking about my performance. How interestingly can I just take this line or has de log वगैरह. Uh, and the tools to be able to execute that definitely are more now. So
Hmm.
yeah, that I would like to believe that yeah, there is growth, there is a better understanding, and I would hope that that's always the case. And uh, you always think that you haven't achieved something.
I think I lost your voice there for a minute.
Oh, 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
So, you have also directed a few plays, I believe. One was a dramatic reading that you
Yes.
directed. How was that experience? And do you want to direct more plays?
Um, yeah, I'm very interested in directing plays now. I feel in theater. Actually, I don't know. I'm very confused right now, but I'm drawn to directing. I directed this play called The Lesson, written by Eugene Ionesco a few years back, and I really enjoyed it. And I've directed a few readings, dramatic readings, one
Yeah.
musical play back in the day called Ishkaha with Gagan Riyad. Uh, and yeah, I want to direct it. I feel like there's a more wholesome joy in doing that and making a team and getting different voices to execute something that's in your mind and being surprised at what can happen
Yeah.
and you don't have to do it means that I think there is more I can play with and more I feel like I can control to the way I can say and it's uh, yeah it's more wholesome I would say at this moment I feel um, whereas in cinema I just want to keep acting right now. I'm really enjoying that.
Uh, as I think you also mentioned the radical cinema that you do, as the radical
Yeah,
theater that
Ishan,
you
just
do.
1 second. Yeah, why is your volume so low in my uh
Let me try
yes,
to
yes. No, we are good. Sorry. Yeah,
okay. Can you hear me now?
absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. So, as you also mentioned that you did some radical cinema, you learned from the radical, the geniuses like Sunil and Satyadev Dubey, and even Nasir Sahab, who is I think should be considered a radical actor himself,
Yeah.
as in a very liberal. Uh, do you think actors face troubles while following a principle in our times?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sure if everyone is doing or is able to make the absolute choice that they want to make
Yeah.
at all. At least those who are at a certain, level of demand, uh, who hold a certain stature, um, who can, attract a certain amount of audiences just by their presence. I'm sure it's a difficult space to be in to make a certain choice. Uh, even I mean, uh, it's a tough one, and that's what our play is about. Really, taking sides.
Yeah.
The one we do right now with Atul. It's about art and politics, and where do you place your politics, and is the measure of courage of a man uh, is courage the measure of a man? Is it a virtue that must be lauded and celebrated, or if of or being weak is okay? Is it human? And or must we look at moral compasses when it comes to such choices? Must we look at how am I going to be viewed in the future? When things
Hmm.
are different. So and different people make different choices. Some people I guess are more open, they don't care how it will look in the future, or as long as they're living the way they want to, they're serving their current needs, that's fine too, I guess. I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm taking a very centrist position on this, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can answer for myself that
Yeah.
uh, I I'm definitely not. I'm very careful as to the material that I read, and I don't want to get stuck into something that I'm not comfortable saying. I don't want to be a part of that right now. And it's just it's my belief and it's how I feel like art should be. And the whole idea of I mean, doing theater has affected my worldview, how I look at people,
Hmm.
how I look at uh, things, life, and now I can't ignore that. Uh, I can't just wash it away and say that okay, screw all that. I'm more interested in what I'm getting right now. Can I sleep peacefully while doing that? I don't know. I'm certainly not in that position where there's a lot of stakes at the moment, but I know
Yeah.
like Anurag, Debakar, their films are suffering and they're unable to bring out the work that they're doing while there's a lot of other work that is being actually funded, and it comes out, and it's some of it is like really like below average,
Correct.
craftsmanship and storytelling. I mean, so I don't know even at an artist level whether I want to do that stuff, as a political person, a person who has political choices. Those I definitely don't want to be there, and it is tough. It is tough, but who's to say? I think I'm in that position where I can't really judge anyone for the choices they make.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, maybe my uh, like extreme leftist friends would condemn that idea, and maybe they've had experiences which make them condemn it strongly,
Correct.
because that also changes your real experience. uh, as far as I'm concerned, I'm still sitting fairly privileged in my seat. It's not really, I'm not really disturbed. I'm seeing and being disturbed, but it's what's happening to me. I'm still able to wade through it, without much discomfort. I'm able to numb that. Somewhere we've become numb. We're in
Hmm.
a stage where the numbing has happened. So I guess, and if this breaks, all of this breaks someday, and 20, 30 years down the line, we're supposed to look back and say, what did we do? Where were we? Did we make any active choice? And I don't know how that will be, but
Do you think all art are political? If even a romantic comedy, if it is being made, it is
yeah,
also a political statement. They are not showing the thing that we would think is political, but they are
yeah,
also making a statement in themselves. So all
yeah,
art in art are inherently political.
yes, yes, because you're always making a choice.
Yeah,
Whenever you're expressing, you're making a choice, which means you are superseding another choice.
correct,
So that itself, that act of choosing itself, is politics, whether you know it or not, whether it's conscious or not. Uh, so yes, it is, but it's not always worthwhile to see politics in some things, because sometimes it's frivolous. And
correct.
uh, so yeah, we can discuss it intellectually and say, oh, isme kya politics hai, usme kya thi, but some of that, it's not important. But where there is an actual expression, there's an actual choice that has been made. Yes, you will see it in a love story, in a comedy, in anything. There will be, there has to be.
So do you think over analysis might take that entertainment question out of that art and would just make it dry?
Yeah, I mean, I think you would like to analyze something that has piqued your interest.
Yeah,
uh, Otherwise you won't analyze it's like in a store where you're going to look for a shoe, and you look at a lot of shoes. You don't even, you just it just passes your gaze, and you don't even discuss, you don't even consider it. But there are some that you might want to discuss and see little details about. So it has to pick your interest in some way. But also, having said that, different people will be interested in different things.
correct,
Might not have the knowledge bank or the life experiences that may draw me to certain things, doesn't mean that that is not art. Just
right.
because I'm not understanding, I'm not drawn by it. We are very quick to say, oh, ये तो समझ ही नहीं आया. समझ नहीं आया तो भाई थोड़ा सोचो कि क्यों तुम्हें समझ नहीं आया, या क्या मुझे कोई चीज पता नहीं जिसकी वजह से ये मेरे लिए एक्सेसिबल नहीं है. या हर चीज जस्ट बिकॉज इट्स एक्सेसिबल डजंट मीन इट्स ग्रेट आर्ट. कि सब समझ गए, ओ मतलब राजकुमार ईरानी की फिल्म है, सबको समझ में आ जाती है. इट doesn't make it better than uh, you know a, whatever a Godard film, for the lack of
Correct.
word. Doesn't mean that, oh, वो entertain, मुझे entertain नहीं हुआ, या मैं वो समझ में नहीं आती वो. तो भाई, it's not because वो, हाँ, so it's those differences also that I think it's when you watch something, when you look at something, um, yeah, I mean, dismissing is the first and easiest thing to do. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the question was. I forgot where we started.
It was over analyzing an art and uh,
Yeah,
but
एनालाइज उसको करेंगे जो इंटरेस्ट पिक करेगा,
correct.
या फिर उसको करेंगे जो बहुत ही खराब लगेगा. क्योंकि उसमें उसमें तो गिल्टी प्लेजर, उसमें मजा आता है.
हाँ.
वो तो हमारा ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है.
But as an actor, you are your own biggest critique in many senses. When you watch yourself later on, you
If you're
see,
very honest, if
if
you're
you're very honest, yes,
yeah, अदरवाइज हम हमने अपने लिए और बहुत सारे रीजंस और लॉजिक बना चुके हैं जो उस ऑनेस्टी के ऊपर भी आ जाते हैं, उसको
करेक्ट।
नहीं पहुंचने देते इवन टू योर सेल्फ। वो वो इनोसेंस और वल्नरेबिलिटी होना मुश्किल है, यहाँ खो जाती है। यू नो,
हम्म।
किसी का कहा हुआ आ जाता है तू तो कितना अच्छा करता है, एंड वो उस ऑनेस्ट मोमेंट को नहीं, उस पे पर्दा डाल देती है।
हम्म।
बट या सॉरी सॉरी आई
No,
इंटरप्टेड
no,
यू।
that's what the question was, कि जब आप खुद को क्रिटिक कर रहे हैं कि I wish that I would have done it slightly differently, um, then the critic review comes in, Rajiv and others who write for different publications, they
या
would write something about the show, about the film. Then you would think, Acha, I think I overanalyzed myself. I think I did pretty well. Has that happened to you? Do you read reviews that come to about your work?
या ऑफ लेट आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग सम मोर। पहले मैं पढ़ता था तो कभी कभी मैं देखता मेरा नाम तो है ही नहीं इसमें, इतना इम्पोर्टेंट छोटा सा कैरेक्टर, इसके बारे में कौन लिखने वाला था वगैरह। सो या आई यूज्ड टू लुक आउट फॉर इट समटाइम्स। और फिर मैंने अपने दिमाग में बना लिया है ये कुछ नहीं पता इन लोग को, कुछ भी लिखते हैं वगैरह वगैरह, यू नो इट्स जस्ट दैट्स। सो व्हेन दे स्टार्टेड राइटिंग एंड मेंशनिंग आई रियलाइज देखो there was a character that was important enough to be noticed, and that's why they're writing about it.
Yeah.
It's not like there's only this much space in an article, they can't write about every actor. So yeah, but yeah, I do look out now. Not everything, but something. Sometimes you find कि एक ने एकदम सेम चीज दूसरे के आर्टिकल से सेम चीज वही लिख दी,
उठा के डाल दी, करेक्ट।
वो एक पैराग्राफ चार रिव्यूज में तुम्हें मिल जाता है, कोई एक वर्ड चेंज कर देते हैं, कोई एक
That is
वर्ड या
true.
कोई एक कॉमा या बट या सम। ऐसा नहीं लगता कि उसने तारीफ कर दी तो ओ हाँ मैंने सच में अच्छा काम, ऐसा नहीं, ऐसा मुझे नहीं लगता। आई थिंक मैं अगर मैं कुछ चीज को लेके ऐसा हूँ यार नहीं यार वो सीन में थोड़ा ऐसे करना चाहिए था, तो वो दैट रिमेन्स, दैट डजंट जस्ट, या उसको तो
So,
शट डाउन करना पड़ता है कि उस समय यू ट्राइड योर बेस्ट।
there was a time when these film critics would make careers or destroy careers of actors. If Khalid Muhammad, who used to write articles on some actors, they would get so many roles and stuff like that. Are you in demand after Kala Pani? Are you getting work? You are approached by actors and filmmakers.
या sure, the number of things that have come have increased, and maybe some of them have come like कि आप ये करोगे क्या वगैरह, not so much come and test for this. Tests are also there, but I think uh, what what I want hasn't come. What I really feel like, oh yaar, ये तो करना ही है, this I can't escape this. That probably hasn't come. That has come in some auditions for one or two things I've tested. Some hasn't worked out. So it's not a, it's not a huge change in that sense. If I have to look at it from my lens, ki, from what was and what is, there is. Uh, I really don't know कि दूसरे लोग कैसे सोच रहे हैं जो बना रहे हैं। आई डोंट नो कि उनके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, बट जो आ रहा है ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत आ रहा है, बहुत
Hmm.
मतलब इंडी फिल्म मेकर्स आ रहे
Yeah.
हैं, फिल्म्स, people do the short film, and maybe I've earned that much credibility कि अब short film वाले चाहते हैं कि मैं कर लूं। तो there'll be, इसको कहीं कहीं तो देखा होगा
हाँ,
या इंडी फिल्म वाले की, हाँ इसका अभी तक इज नॉट लाइक कमर्शियली, ऐसा नहीं कि लोग पागल हो रहे हैं इस एक्टर को लेके, तो मेरी इंडी फिल्म तो कर लेगा, ही माइट अंडरस्टैंड कि बिना पैसे कर लेगा। सो या आई मीन एंड आई एम हैप्पी टू डू, आई हैव डन टू इंडी प्रोजेक्ट्स लास्ट ईयर, very very interesting. I really enjoyed doing them, kind of stuff I really want to do. So yeah, I'm not cribbing about that. I'm fine, and I'm happier not making these tough choices कि बहुत सारा आ रहा और उसमें से 99% रिजेक्ट ही करना है, तो ठीक है नहीं है choice. But yeah, I do wish that you know better stuff, exciting stuff, and surely like things that pay also
yeah.
do come to me. Yeah, I would love that. I would love to.
No, I think this is that dichotomy, that plight that an actor faces, to first to do quality stuff and then to make money. You know,
Yeah, and the ephemeral, the prodigal balance when it strikes is what you wait for.
yeah.
Yeah, that
which is
equilibrium is,
hard to achieve because not all quality work pays and not all that pays is quality stuff.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you wish to be a commercially successful actor in your life? Do you plan to do that?
I plan to be successful so that my bank account is nice and full.
Yeah,
Uh, whether that means doing movies that I don't want to do, work that I don't want to do, I cannot say anything about that right now. I wish it's not the case. I wish the work that I do pays well. But I think I might be a little. It might not sit well with me. If I'm just doing work that I don't want to do only for money, and
hmm.
it might be difficult for me to accept that and adjust to that. Maybe I've settled into a mentality where I'm like, no, I'm just going to do work that I like. It's okay. I don't have to get a Mercedes. I don't have to have two flats here. I don't have to have. I'm more interested in the work I'm doing, but maybe it'll change. I'm not sure. I can't say with any certainty. But yes, I would like commercial success. I want to be more. I want more people to know that I'm an actor and an actor that they would like to watch in more things. An actor that they'd like to follow to anticipate what's coming and to objectively look at, not just say that, oh ye to, oh isko dekhna hai to अच्छा ही करता है. I want them to be objective. I want there to be uh, and not just audience. I think it's more to do with the people who are making the films, who are
Hmm.
with them. I want to have more dialogue with their ideas. I want to be in those places. What will happen to those things is not in my control. But yeah, commercially, I want to be successful. Absolutely,
No, no,
absolutely.
that you just said about the directors and their vision. Are you a director's actor by any chance, or you are your own? You have your own vision for a project, and you tell the director that I think this should be better like this.
If you are not, I mean, director's actor, then you're not an actor.
Hmm.
Then then you should do some business or something, because there is no other kind of acting, and you
Yeah,
have. That's why there is a director. You can't be a music composer and not be a director's music composer, or you can't be a light man and putting light for your house instead of doing it for the scene.
yeah,
And it's not like सीन हम दोनों यहाँ कर रहे हैं और लाइट वाला बोलता है कि यार मेरे को तो उधर लगाना है, उधर लगा दिया, बट डायरेक्टर ने इधर सीन लगाया तो लाइट इधर ही लगनी है. So it's it is, you have to be a director's actor. But again, this is one of the terms that have come in because sadly we might have had a culture where actors are doing their own things, and there is, in our commercial films, there is this actors, and very intelligently Ritik Roshan people speak about it, that they have to balance the star with the actor
correct.
and all of that, and then if a shirt needs to be off, it needs to be off, if there needs to be a dance, there needs to be a dance. A lot of still frame acting has to happen, I have to look good. वो सब उनको पता है, चाहे मैं अकबर बनाऊं चाहे जो भी बनाऊं. और बट बट डायरेक्टर की तो बात तो डायरेक्टर की करनी पड़ेगी ना, ऐसे मतलब कुछ अपनी आके. यू कांट डू दैट. इफ यू आर डूइंग दैट, यू आर नॉट वर्किंग फॉर द फिल्म.
Yeah.
ये डायरेक्टर का ही एक्ट हो सकता है और किसी का हो ही नहीं सकता. अपना आप नहीं हो सकते.
And do you write as well as an actor? Do you also write? Do you like to write? Do you want to be a writer at any point of time?
I want to be a writer just like I want to be a cricketer, but I know I can't be both. Uh, so no, I had thoughts that मैं लिखता लिखूंगा भी, लिखता भी वगैरह नहीं. मैं script story. No, that's a whole discipline. You have to like dedicate your life to that. You can't just be. And acting ही नहीं समझ रही है, acting ही समझ में नहीं आती है. There is so much. I mean, every day you like कुछ आता ही नहीं है, ये कैसे करें. कोई नई स्क्रिप्ट आती है, फर्स्ट रिएक्शन इसकी नहीं 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 करनी, डर लगता है सबसे पहले. My first reaction was writing, तो but I do enjoy creating lines or words or responses, and an actor is a creator in that sense also. So sure, it's not writing. One should not be under the impression that it's writing if you write a few lines here and there or you improvise something. But dialogues is something that I feel like at some point of time I would like to attempt writing dialogues. I have also with a friend attempted dialogues, wo show banani. But I enjoyed the process of discovering dialogue. What the character will speak. And plays में कभी कभी हम वो करते भी हैं.
Hmm.
और फिल्म में अभी एक मैंने इंडिपेंडेंट फिल्म दिसंबर में की थी, एंड डायरेक्टेड बाय शिशिर झा, who has made this very wonderful film called Tortoise, which was screened at Mami last year. It's a
Tortoise Under the Sky.
yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
So Shishir Jha is a very, very intelligent
Beautiful film, yeah.
and cinema buff, and so he has made his first fiction feature film, and I was lucky to be part of his process. And he said, "Sir, मैंने डायलॉग नहीं लिखे हैं. मैं लिख रहा हूँ तो अजीब लग रहा है, वो सच्चे नहीं लग रहे हैं. तो डायलॉग तो मैं आप दो एक्टर्स से ही चाहता हूँ. We will
Yeah.
make dialogues." So you can say that one has written all those dialogues while improvising the whole film. But it's not really the same thing. It's different. It's like you're in the pool, and then you have to learn how to swim and figure it out, and there's a maze. And but it doesn't mean that you've literally done a whole race from, or you have a whole journey from, Great Britain to France, or आपने एक planned idea के through you have navigated your boat.
Hmm.
It's not writing, but it was definitely acting, and it was creating a lot of lines. I'm not a writer.
Hmm. Do you watch indie films? You mentioned Shishir's Tortoise Under the Sky. Do you watch other indie films?
I have watched a few. I cannot claim to have watched many, but I'm so excited after having met Shishir and his DOP, who had come all the way from Mexico, Isai. And these guys were talking about so many films. So अब थोड़ा 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 मैं धीरे धीरे देखना शुरू किया है, और मैं और देखना चाहता हूँ. मैं उसको पूछूंगा, भाई कुछ नाम भेज. Slowly I'll start watching, and some of the stuff that I had watched on movie and some of the other stuff that I'd watched before, it definitely made me feel like I'm attracted to this cinema,
Hmm.
where the story is not being pushed down my throat. I'm really made to discover so much more just by the presence of these actors. There's not a lot of focus on बहुत सारा dialogue. It's not overwritten. It's a lot of other things happening, and actors just seem like just like really part of the story. They never take over the narrative. Uh, and in this film, I felt like I was doing something like that. So I do want to
Hmm.
watch. But I've watched some stuff. Yes, some of the world cinema that's coming in. Some of the Indian films that are being made. So yes, but not watched a lot. But
And have you been to film festivals by any chance? Do you attend film festivals
no, I haven't.
and theater festivals also? Because there
Yes.
are theater festival people, and those who don't know, Bharat Rang Mahotsav happens every year. Those who are interested in theater must go to those festivals. Even I think recently we had the World Theater Day, which was I think yesterday, if
No,
we are not
a couple of
a day
days back.
before that. Yeah.
Couple of days back. Yeah, Thursday or something.
So
Yeah.
you must people who are listening to us must go to theaters. They are I think if you go to
Yeah.
cinema, you must also visit theaters. So yeah,
Yeah, watched a
do you
lot of
know?
theater festivals. Just because you have to watch it, you can't go
Yeah,
back to your room and watch it. So film festivals, no, I've not been part of that craze. I like watching films at my convenience, at my space. I don't really sense this rush. I've booked my Mami ka this thing last year, but I never went for a single film. I don't take those crowds and be in those lines, and I like to be comfortable there. But it doesn't mean I'm less interested in films,
yeah.
but maybe not in the same way as the film festival buffs. But I would love to watch a few, the Dharamshala one, just for
Oh
where it
yeah,
takes place है ना. And एक और कुमाऊं में होता है, सोना पानी में करते हैं, गुरपाल जी करते हैं. फिर in some of the countries abroad, I would love to go and watch. I mean, थोड़ा सा है कुछ abroad का देखना है, क्या बोलूं,
yeah.
जो भी
And
क्लास में.
last year I did my first film festival in Mami, and
Yeah,
I watched about 27 films in 7 days, 8 days.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
it was a hectic schedule from 10 a.m. in the morning to 11:30 or 12 late night. That
yeah,
was the schedule, and we would miss our lunch, dinner, everything, and just see films. And I have those popcorns at PVRs, super expensive stuff, but one has to do these just to feel like a true cinephile sometime.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys are. Like, I've done this not during a film festival, but I've gone to town sometimes and watched three films in a row in
Yeah,
cinema. I've done that kind of stuff on my own.
that's brilliant.
Yeah,
So you mentioned movie, and I think movie is becoming that platform now in India that that
Sorry, I lost you for a bit.
people
I've
are
lost
now
you.
following cinema.
Sorry, I
Can
lost
you
you
hear me
for a
now?
bit. Now I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, there was some internet shock that my laptop faced.
No problem. No problem.
No, I was just talking about movie and the kind of response that it is getting in India now. It is getting noticed. People are now going on movie, watching films.
Yeah.
So now we'll come to the recommendation part of the conversation where I would ask you for some recommendations. First,
Hmm.
we'll go for the world cinema, where the films that I have watched are Akira Kurosawa's Japanese Ozu, Akira Kurosawa, and Iranian films by
Oh yeah.
be it Abbas Kiarostami or Majid
Yes.
Majidi.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I never understood French filmmakers, sadly. I can't understand what Jean-Luc Godard wants to make or Truffaut wants to say
Yeah.
or Andre Bazin wants to show us in their films.
But more
What
of the
about you? What
modern
kind?
modern French cinema stuff.
Sorry,
What about the modern French cinema stuff?
the
Some of
modern
that.
I haven't watched. I've
Yeah.
only watched the classics. Sadly, I
Yeah.
have to watch. I wanted to watch this film called. It's a that girl on the poster. There's a this girl. I forgot the name of the film. I sent it to my sister. Is somebody who's interested in French cinema.
Yeah.
I sent her that. I'll just check on WhatsApp.
I saw this very interesting.
Emily.
Oh yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah. That became very popular. Also, it stopped being indie almost. It became
Yeah.
yeah. It became almost like as famous as a commercial film. Yeah. There's this very interesting film called The Sun's Room or something like that. It was a Swedish film or can't remember from what country. Very interesting about a therapist, a man who's a therapist, and he uh, and there's these lot of wonderful conversation that you see in his therapy room with different patients. But what the story actually is about how he loses his son, I think, to an accident, and then how his life changes and how he starts to think about what he does as a
Hmm.
therapist, how he's dealing with this grief, and it's pretty much that slice of life. But it was a riveting cinema. Then there was this film based in a Jewish society in America in downtown somewhere. It was called Shiva Baby.
Hmm.
At a funeral, it all unfolds at a funeral. They have this occasion called Shiva, I think, where they all eat and I don't know, mourn the death of the person. I'm not very sure of the custom. And there's one girl who, on the pretext of taking money from her parents for some education, is actually having an affair with somebody who's also at the funeral, an older man who pays her as he's like a sugar daddy, and how things and very internal things get revealed. It's brilliant. The sound design
Hmm.
is unbelievable, and you can see why it's indie, how it must have just quickly been shot, but there is no compromise on the technical aspects of it. It's brilliant. I think there's some very interesting Scandinavian voices coming out. The worst person in the world is one film that I really enjoyed, and it's a man who's made a film, I think, about the woman lead, and it's wonderful insight into uh, her exploration of herself, and the other characters, how beautifully they're dealt with. There's her first boyfriend who ultimately gets cancer, and these conversations she has are fantastic. Yeah, the movie has really helped Pedro Almodovar,
Yeah.
something like that, and it just introduced me to Wonka Wai
Wow. Yeah.
for the first time, and I can't get
Kung
enough.
Fu Express and In the
Yeah,
Mood
I
for
can't
Love.
get enough of In the Mood for Love. I just can't take it. I don't know. It's so
But I think the now the focus has shifted to these European countries which are lesser known. Like Anatomy of a Fall is the example
yeah,
of. such cinema
Yeah.
taking shape. It's not the French anymore.
No,
It's
no.
those smaller city, Polish
Yeah.
films and other Scandinavian films
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
taking the center stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Iran, Turkey. I mean, uh, very interesting stuff. I mean, Kiarostami, of course, is, I mean, is just most celebrated, wonderful filmmaker. I don't know how he does it with non-actors and actors, and uh, actually, his cinema is like life is actually happening, and yet it's a story, yet it's constructed. I don't know how he manages that balance, but he says that he spends years with his actor before he starts using them as the cast.
Mm.
Knows them so well that
Mm.
by the time they're there, he knows them inside out. So it's a lot of work to achieve that process. Not like how does Kiarostami do it, and he'll tell you how he does it, and can you do that? I mean, that's a choice that you have to make, and you dedicate it so much. Incidentally, as a child, my mother speaks Bengali
Mm.
because her family had stayed in Bengal for some time as children. सो मेरे घर पे बचपन में बहुत शुरू शुरू में सत्यजीत रे की कई फिल्में के कैसेट्स मेरे पापा लेके आए थे।
Mm.
तो मैंने वो सब देखी थी उस समय, गोपी गायन बागा बायन और वो अपू ट्रिलॉजी।
Yeah.
बाद में फिर देखी अभी रिसेंटली, एंड बट आई रिमेम्बर रियली लविंग गोपी गायन बागा बायन, वो एंड बैक टू द फ्यूचर वाज वन फिल्म दैट आई सॉ एट दैट टाइम। I was yeah, I was crazy about that. So yeah, I mean there was some indie cinema liking, if I can say.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean if you're asking for a recommendation right now, absolute recommendation. Um, Drive My Car. That's a film based on the story by Murakami,
Mm.
and it is
Yeah.
on strongly recommended. It's fantastic film, fantastic.
And what about the Indian films? Do you watch Indian films now? Do you get time to watch films? That is the question.
I have lots of time. I have a lot of time. ऐसा नहीं भी नहीं हूँ मैं। बहुत टाइम। इंडियन फिल्म्स जो नई पिक्चरें आ रही हैं उनमें से,
Anything, पुराना नया मिला के।
हाँ कभी कभी देखता हूँ, ऐसा नहीं है। कभी कभी नया भी देखता हूँ जस्ट टू सी कि क्या बना रहे हैं, क्या है, अच्छा क्या है उसमें। अब उस तरह से देखना छोड़ दिया है कि मतलब ये पसंद नहीं है और वो पसंद है। देख लेता हूँ मैं, एंड आई कैन सिट थ्रू समथिंग एंड सी, देन आई वॉच कि वो डायरेक्टर क्या बातें कर रहा
Have
है।
you ever left a film midway क्योंकि पसंद नहीं आई तो बीच में इंटरवल पे यू लेफ्ट द थिएटर?
हाँ वो किया है मैंने, बट वो कुछ दैट वाज स्टूपिड एरोगेंस कि हमको आता है, वो कोई बहुत प्राउड होने वाली बात नहीं है।
या
जब भी मैंने किया है, वो एक आध बार किया है, वो किसी और आइडिया के लिए है। मतलब शाहरुख खान को मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड प्यार करती तो मुझे उससे मतलब गुस्सा था, शाहरुख खान आधी पिक्चर में निकल गया वगैरह, वो स्टेटमेंट वो मेरा अपना स्टुपिडिटी है।
या
Nothing, but I would like to sit through. I don't mind, even if it's like absolute trash. I can sit and watch a film and then find something in it, hopefully. And I watched Animal recently. I quite enjoyed myself.
या
Uh, yeah, I mean, all my politics and all my liberal thoughts and all that. There was something in it that challenged all of that and allowed me to watch it. बट हाँ, पुरानी नई कुछ कुछ उठा के मैं देख लेता हूँ, बहुत ज्यादा नहीं देखता हूँ,
डू यू
कम देख।
वॉच गुरु दत्त?
यस, एक टाइम पे मैंने सारी देखी थी। मैंने
हम्म।
ऐसे किया था, गुरुदत्त की सारी देखी, फिर अशोक कुमार की उठा के कुछ कुछ देखी, फिर दिलीप साहब की उठा के कई सारी देखी। तो वो एक टाइम चल रहा था, आई वाज वाचिंग। अब कभी कभी मैं उनमें से कोई कोई पार्ट उठा के देखता हूँ,
हम्म।
कभी ड्राइव्स योर अटेंशन टू दैट समथिंग दैट यू आर थिंकिंग ऑफ, so you watch it, and a lot of it is songs actually from Gurudutt's films that now I watch over and over again. बिकॉज रिसेंटली हमने वो देखी थी, ये गाइड आई थी सिनेमा,
हम्म।
देव साहब की कुछ फिल्में आई थी, तो गाइड देखिए ना, आई एम ब्लोन बाय जस्ट वॉचिंग इट ऑन बड़ा पर्दा, और सॉन्ग्स, द कोरियोग्राफी, द कैमरा वर्क, द एक्टिंग, म्यूजिक, आई वाज लाइक ये ऐसे नहीं है कि
Brilliant.
आप सुन लो एक बार और मजे ले लो, मतलब दिस इज सीरियस, सीरियस वर्क। तो हाँ ठीक है, फिल्म सीन वर्क तो वो सब तो है, वो सब तो बहुत लोग कर रहे थे, सब कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं था कि वाह बहुत अच्छा है। मतलब यू कैन बी ऑब्जेक्टिव अबाउट इट ऑल्सो, श्योर एफर्ट है, हर कहानी अच्छी नहीं थी और हर परफॉर्मेंस भी इतनी अमेजिंग नहीं होती थी। बट गानों में जो ये हमारा काम था, क्राफ्ट था, और
Correct.
वो बहुत सुंदर। और गुरुदत्त की फिल्मों में तो एके मूर्ति आई थिंक यूज्ड टू बी द डीओपी इफ आई एम नॉट,
VK
या
Murthy.
एके मूर्ति। ओ माय गॉड, दैट सिनेमेटोग्राफी इज मतलब अमेजिंग टू जस्ट थिंक ऑफ कैसे कर रहे थे। एंड फिर राइटिंग में भी आप देखते हैं अबरार अलवी का ना,
Yes,
कि
Abrar.
कैसे चेंज हुआ राइटिंग, वो कैरेक्टर्स कैसे बोलने लगे। उससे पहले की फिल्मों में कैसे बोलते, गानों में शब्दों के चयन क्या हो गए, तो जाके जाने क्या तूने कही, जाने क्या मैंने सुनी, बात कुछ ये कुछ जबान थोड़ी अपनी सी हुई धीरे धीरे, एंड उसके लिए फिर म्यूजिक का मैवरिक होना भी जरूरत है, एसडी बर्मन की तरह, टू मेक इट ऑलमोस्ट स्पोकन।
Yeah,
येट देयर इज आल्सो द सॉन्ग्स ऑफ लमेंट, ये दुनिया अगर मिल भी जाए तो क्या है, वो भी है, शायरी भी है। So it's I think it's very it's amazing to watch that stuff, and even today, mm, वो सब हिट भी नहीं हुआ था ना उस समय, if I'm not wrong,
no.
it didn't work, and there's a story where Rahul said that you'll be बाद में हिट होंगी तुम्हारी
Yeah.
फिल्म।
So Guruda's last film, even that Kagas Ke Phool, was a super flop
Super
when it
flop, and
came out.
spent everything on that, if I'm not wrong, and
Yeah,
yeah,
and he died in between making that film.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that was later completed by another person, and then it was released.
Hmm.
Uh,
I didn't know that. Yeah. बट कल्ट कल्ट बोलते हैं, अब कोई भी चीज को कल्ट बोल देते हैं। कल्ट आज बन के कल थोड़ी कल्ट हो जाती है कोई चीज। इट टेक्स देयर इज अ
yes,
पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दैट हैज टू गो बिफोर समथिंग कैन बिकम अ कल्ट।
yeah,
समथिंग हैज टू अराइज फ्रॉम इट। जस्ट बिकॉज इट्स अ गुड फिल्म, मजा आ गया आपको, ये कल्ट है,
that's
दैट्स
true.
या
Have you also watched that parallel cinema, that art cinema films of?
या बट इस पे नसीर साहब वगैरह ने इतना बोल दिया है ना उस पे, ऑनेस्टली,
Yes,
एंड आई हैव नॉट इवन बीन अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट मूवमेंट, इफ आई कैन कॉल
yeah,
इट। तो मैं तो कंज्यूमर हूँ। तो बट हाँ, कुछ था जो फिल्में, जैसे नसीर साहब और ओमपुरी बोलते हैं कि हमारी जैसी शक्ल वाले एक्टरों को कौन दे रहा था, तो
yes,
बाबू और इन लोग ने दिया, तो इट इट हेल्प्ड अस, अलाउड अस टू बी हियर एंड डू गुड वर्क। एंड और वो सही में अच्छा काम है, वो देखते हैं तो लगता है कि हाँ यार, ऐसी कहानियां, मतलब हम अभी सच बताएं तो कम ही लिख रहे हैं, मतलब
correct,
हो रही हैं। और वो पॉपुलर क्यों नहीं है, या क्यों नहीं हुई, या बाद में होंगी, आपके लिए, आपको, you have to have patience to make those kind of films. You cannot have the expectations that you have from a commercial film. You have to temper your expectations. You have to believe in your idea, वगैरह वगैरह, वो सब मतलब parallel cinema है cinema।
correct.
Parallel is to what was going on, मतलब that it's almost like a comment on what was going on more than what became parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you felt the need to say कि अच्छा, ये है असली और वो है नकली, या वो बेकार है, ऐसा कुछ।
There was a sound recordist who recently passed away, A.M. Padmanabhan, who
Hmm.
is known as Paddy in the industry.
I have heard of
He
him.
and
Yeah.
he has worked with almost all the legendary filmmakers as sound recordist, and he said to me in the interview that I did for a book that I'm currently working on, he
Hmm.
said parallel films were those films that everybody wants to see but for free.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
wishes to pay for such stuff.
No, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. करेक्ट, करेक्ट, करेक्ट। और सब बोलते हैं उस समय के जितने भी पापा मम्मी और अंकल अंकल, अरे क्या बढ़िया एक्टर, उसमें एक्टर बहुत बढ़िया है, उन पिक्चर में एक्टिंग बहुत बढ़िया होती थी। तो दूसरी पिक्चरों में आप क्या देख रहे थे, मतलब दैट मीन्स कुछ और है ना, डिलीवरेबल्स चेंज हो गए।
correct.
जो चीजें मजा दे रही थी, वो पैरेलल हो गया। आर्ट होगी, कितना अजीब है ना उसको आर्ट सिनेमा बोल देना।
Yes.
और दूसरे को मतलब फिर आप एक्चुअली पूरा कमेंट वो कमर्शियल पे ही है, आर्ट के
Hmm.
क्रेडिट में कुछ नहीं है वो कमर्शियल का कमेंट है कि ओके, आर्ट की जरूरत पड़ गई नौटंकी से।
Uh,
Yeah.
and do you also watch anime by any chance?
I watch some, but not a lot, not a lot.
Hmm.
It is very attractive. I have to watch a lot of it. I have to. Now my friends are going crazy about it. देखना है, देखना है, देखना है, बहुत अच्छा बहुत अच्छा, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि मुझे समय चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर मैं देखना शुरू कर दिया ना तो फिर मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं, मैं देखता ही चला जाऊंगा।
Hmm.
तो मे बी आई एम जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर दैट perfect period. It's never going to come, so one day I will plunge and start watching. But yeah, it's unbelievable. That stuff is just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. But
I would-
did you watch Naruto or Dragon Ball Z as a kid? What they were?
Naruto का ही कुछ था.
Hmm?
Yeah, but the Dragon Balls is something else, right? What was that?
That
Is
was manga, I think. No.
I have not seen that. No. No, there was this really dark story about a girl who goes with her parents some holiday. फिर सब खो जाते हैं and there's this like crazy stuff happening with this girl and she's trying to find her parents and there's this whole the atmosphere in the film, the darkness, the stark how stark the film became with these children and some witches and all that. It was that was one film which I saw and I was like, what is this world that they're creating? What is this choice of music and all of that? But I have to see a lot more. I have not seen enough. बहुत सुना Naruto. I'm tired and I have to watch it.
I think you were a little older by the time that Naruto came on TV. I was about 8 years
Oh,
old.
on TV.
Yeah, on TV.
Oh,
Hangama used to show these shows on TV when we were kids.
oh no, I probably wasn't watching TV at that time.
Yeah, now they are available on Netflix and
Now
other
it's all on
platforms.
Netflix and stuff. Yeah, yeah,
But and then there was Pokemon and others. It was a
yeah.
great time to be a kid. So
Doraemon. Yeah,
and
and
okay, so the last question for the evening because I think we have done 2 hours of conversation. I really want to do more, but I'm sure that you have to go for dinner, and I have to make my dinner. So that is the question.
oh,
I'm to
what
cook
is?
for myself sadly here in Baroda.
Oh God,
So I make good stuff. I would
you
love to. Sorry.
you cook well. You cook well.
Yes, I cook well. I cook brilliantly. Learned from my father. So yeah, I love to cook new stuff. Here in Baroda, I have limited resources, but one learns from those limited resources.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, चलो
That
करो बढ़िया. Oh, but what are you going to make?
today
Vegetarian.
I'll have khichdi today because I had heavy lunch. We went for a whole Gujarati lunch this evening, Kathiawadi lunch.
Oh, how is
We
that?
had bataka bhaji or we had gathia. There's something called gathia ki
Like
sabzi
that.
in Gujarat.
Yeah.
And then we had the bajre ki rotla,
हाँ,
brilliant things
घी डाल
with
के उसके ऊपर अच्छे से.
yeah,
या
with
या
good and other things.
गुड़ या करेक्ट करेक्ट. मैं भी
So
आज खिचड़ी खा रहा हूँ. दोपहर में भी रात को भी. Today is a rest day. Yesterday was a lot of junk eating
yeah.
that.
Now I think even as actor you have to give yourself break. जैसे हम खाने में break देते हैं कि if we did something, we had something heavy, we have to eat little light. So as an actor
Ah.
also,
I think for me it's more of a personal maintenance kind of a thing because I've seen some a lot of uh, problems of obesity in my family,
hmm,
my dad's side, and I've seen how much suffering that has brought to individuals. So I have a phobia of that. So I I watch very carefully. I let myself go also. It's not like that because I have a tendency to gain weight, and I like I just want to remain fit and healthy as much as possible. So I keep doing something. There are sacrifices, but it's not that hard and fast. I don't have a gym wala body and all of that. But yeah, ध्यान रखते हैं. I think बहुत इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे है वो. ऐसा नहीं
yeah,
है कि हर एक्टर वो जैसा इंसान कर रहे हैं वैसा कर रहे हैं. थोड़ा तो है ये वैनिटी का आइडिया हर एक्टर में कहीं ना कहीं तो होता ही है. सो वो अपने तरीके से कर रहे होते हैं. सब अपने तरीके से कर रहे हैं. मैं ज्यादा क्रीम व्रीम और ये सब बालों वालों का इतना ध्यान नहीं रखता हूँ.
hmm.
मैं वो कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि मैं क्या खा रहा हूँ, थोड़ा एक्सरसाइज कर रहा हूँ कि नहीं, उसका ध्यान रखने की कोशिश करता हूँ.
That's very important. And the last question was, how was your experience on Carvan? Did you like the questions? How was this interview for you? This conversation for you?
या दिस इंटरव्यू इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फॉर मी बिकॉज मुझे ऐसा लगा नहीं कि मैं कोई थैंकफुली किसी इंटरव्यू के लिए आया हूँ. दैट इज दैट इज की ऐसा बिफोर वी वर चैटिंग बिफोर यू वेंट लाइव ऐसा लग रहा है कि वही चीज कंटिन्यू होती चली गई.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that it was live or anything, and thankfully I didn't feel like had to say something from a lot of knowledge. It was more experience and sharing and questioning I'm very confused about a lot of things that I have answered. It's not like my opinions are well formed, and there was space for that in this. I think that was good. Also, I'm excited to meet somebody who's working in history, on cinema history, the cinema file, and who shares the idea of how history should be taught. I think because that is one subject that uh, is my favorite subject now. And back in school, it was like, what the hell is this? What is history? And in fact, there was one teacher who got me excited in history, Miss Purnima Datta, and she gave me this assignment in, if I may,
Yeah, yeah.
in class 10th, for my 20 marks ka boards ka internal thing.
Hmm.
Said to write 1,500 words on, and your subject is how the same event in history can be interpreted in different ways by
Wow.
different. So she said, take the 1857 revolt and read three different books by three different writers, one of Indian origin, one of British origin, one neutral, and then write a 1,500-word essay on how you saw it differently, how they saw it differently. Uh, that was a very different idea of history from for me. Somebody had ever mentioned, and suddenly all the information became not so important, the factual information, but the movement of people and story, and how it's presented. Of course, the facts are facts,
Yeah,
but how it's told, the movement of these people and what they're doing and
yeah,
why they choices, that became suddenly what history was. And all of COVID, I think I've just listened to history podcasts, and I found this the most amazing. My soulmate of history podcasting, Dan Carlin,
yeah.
uh, who does hardcore history,
Yes.
and so many of the books that he recommends now I'm able to pick up and read. And I think history really is my favorite subject now. So I'm very happy to meet another historian, a student of history, I would
Yeah.
say, and chat with them, because yeah, film and is not everything. Life is a lot more.
I hope to meet you in person in Bombay whenever I'm there next
So
time.
please let me know. You have my number. Please let me know. I'd
Yes,
love to host you. Do you like coffee?
yes, I do.
I'll make some wonderful coffee for you. I promise you that.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Sukant, and thank you for giving so much time for this conversation. I really wanted to make it 4 hour at least.
yeah.
The
I have a lot
longest.
of time, Ishan. Really, you can see how free I am, and therefore how unsuccessful commercially. Yeah. No, it was pleasure. Thank you to the pleasure. I could go on with you as well. I could go on talking. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. We will be back with another conversation very soon, hopefully. And we are going to do offline interviews very soon. We are planning to do it in Bombay. So, people in Bombay, please do join us for those interviews, those conversations where we take filmmakers and actors in front of you in the public domain and you get to interact with them in person, which is very important as people who watch them, who learn from their cinema, because cinema is an impactful medium at the end of the day. People are influenced by the kind of cinema that comes on screen, that is shown to you, and which is and films that are banned. Both ways it works. So we'll talk about that in detail in those conversations. We had just released the film appreciation workshop that's fortunately or unfortunately I'll be leading. So those of you who are interested in learning about very introductory Indian history, Indian cinema's history, please do join for that film appreciation workshop.
I
The
want to
link.
join that actually. I want to. I found that very attractive. I want to, because I've not done it officially. Sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
no,
I
no.
film appreciation course. I think it'll really open up my mind. So I'll have a look at it. If time is feasible, I'll definitely love to join that.
Yeah, please do join. I did the FTII workshop,
Yeah,
that film
I want to do
appreciation
that too.
workshop,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I did two, three more. So I'll be using all those things and compile them in a series of 12 days, 2 hours each, weekend, Saturday and Sunday, tracing the history of Indian cinema, but also giving word history, word cinema contexts. And we'll be seeing some films also. On Sundays, we'll show a film on Zoom. So people who are interested, it's an online workshop. Reach out to us on caravanheritage@gmail.com and do follow Sukant on Instagram. Do follow me on Instagram and Carvan Heritage on Instagram if you can. We'll share the links of all our Instagram handles on the YouTube video. Do share it with your friends because um, I want to believe that quality stuff have niche audiences, so that's why we have lesser subscribers. But I hope that you will share this video with your friends and your family and ask them to follow us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sukant. It was lovely meeting you and
Pleasure.
having this conversation with you. We'll
Pleasure.
meet soon in Bombay.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मिलेंगे बिल्कुल. Thank you so much. Thank you, and please subscribe to Ishan and Karma, guys. I think it's a wonderful kind of work that you guys are doing, and more power to you, more support to you. And even though it's niche, I think there are a lot of people out there who might not know about it and who need to know about it. So yeah, it should reach them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night and enjoy your dinners. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye,